Welcome back to another live feed with Sean Mitchell's YouTube channel. Let's get into it, man. 50 most dynamic dudes in sports history: baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. Going through it. The dynamic dudes that play football, NFL. We'll start with Montana and Rice. Great combination, man. Jerry Rice and Joe Montana. Quarterback, wide receiver. Jerry Rice is the only player who was included in two separate places, and these rankings really should not come as much of a surprise to anyone. The greatest wide receiver in NFL history, combined with Joe Montana and Steve Young at different times, to form the league's most prolific passing combination. 6 years he played with Montana, Jerry Rice earned first team All Pro selections 5 times and won AP was Player of the Year nomination. In his 8 years with Young, Rice made first team All Pro 5 times and was named the Offensive Player of the Year once in the AP. The only thing that might surprise some people is that Rice actually compiled significantly better numbers playing with Young than he did during Montana's years with the 49ers. The following is a breakdown of the total amassed by the wide receiver during the time he spent with each quarterback. With Montana, 446 receptions, 7,866 yards, 83 touchdowns. With Young, 693 receptions, 9,746 yards, 84 touchdowns. The 2 extra years that Rice played with Young were largely responsible for the discrepancy in the numbers. Nevertheless, Jerry Rice caught more passes and compiled more receiving yards with Steve Young than he did with any other quarterback, including Joe Montana. The twosome won 2 Super Bowls, appeared in 3 NFC Championship games in the sixth season together. Meet Montana and Rice. When it comes to Young and Rice, they played in 4 NFC Championship games as teams, but they only won 1 Super Bowl over 8 seasons. In spite of the outstanding numbers that Young compiled over the course of his career, his name is rarely mentioned when it comes to discussion of the NFL's best quarterbacks of all time. Montana is considered by many people to be perhaps the greatest quarterback ever to play the game. Since the tandem of Young and Rice appears later in these rankings, the chapter focuses primarily on the time that Montana and Rice spent together on the 49ers from 1985 to 1990. It also examines the overall accomplishment of arguably the greatest quarterback in history, the man widely considered to be the greatest wide receiver in the history of the league. Obviously, Joe Montana was drafted third round in 1979, drafted out of Notre Dame. Obviously, with that, he had great success without Rice, before Rice. He won a couple Super Bowls without Rice and stuff like that. As I said, the year before Rice came, the 49ers won the Super Bowl going 15-1 in '84. You know, Montana completed 65% of his passes through 28 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. He won that game Super Bowl against the Dolphins, 38-16. Montana threw 331 yards, 4 touchdowns. He scored without Rice. Rice came in '85. So when Rice came in '85, he had 49 receptions for 927 yards, 4 touchdowns after becoming a starter at midseason. The highlight of that year ended up with the best game he had during that time, up to date at that time. He was Offensive Rookie of the Year. He had a good game against the Rams, 10 catches, 241 yards receiving. Montana had 61.3% completion percentage, 86. They lost to the Giants in the playoffs. He threw 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. '87, that's when Jerry Rice really came to his own even more. Now, that's the second season, he had 86 catches, 1,570 receiving yards. That led the league 16 touchdowns. That was in '86. But in '87, that's when everything took off. That was straight short season. He had 22 touchdowns. Montana threw 31 touchdowns. Rice scored 22 touchdowns. 23 touchdowns. Made 65 receptions. He was Offensive Player of the Year. But they lost to the playoffs in 87. In 88, Rice had 64 receptions, 1,306 yards, 10 touchdowns. 89, 82 receptions, 1,483 touchdowns. 1,483 yards, 17 touchdowns. 1990, 100 receptions, 1,502 yards, 13 touchdowns. Thanks for hitting the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Montana had an 88, 59.9 completion percentage, 2,981 passing yards, 18 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, 89, 70.2 completion percentage, 3,521 passing yards, and 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Then in 1990, he completed 61.7% of his passes, completion percentage of 3,944. Passing yards, 26 touchdown passes, 16 touchdowns. Rice averaged a career high 20.4 yards per reception in 1988. He kept the season off in Super Bowl 23 with 11 catches for 215 yards and 1 touchdown in that Super Bowl against the Bengals, because he won MVP. Then this next Super Bowl in 89 season against the Broncos, he had 7 catches for 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rice kept the Triple Crown in 1990. He led all NFL wideouts in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdown catches. And the highlight of that season was against the Falcons, where he scored 5 touchdowns. So Rice earned all pro first team honors all 3 seasons. That's basically it, man. The 6 years that Montana and Rice played together, they combined for 9 appearances in the Pro Bowl, 8 first team All Pro selections, 2 AP Offensive Player of the Year awards, 2 MVP awards. Rice was the MVP in Super Bowl 23. Montana received honor. The following year, Montana led the league in passing twice. Rice led the league in receiving receptions once, receiving yards 3 times, touchdown receptions on 4 occasions. 49ers would advance to the playoffs each year when these 2 players were together, and appeared in 3 NFC Championship games, won 2 Super Bowls. So that's it for that. We in chapter 25, talking about Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison from the 50 most dynamic duos in sports history: baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. Come back at 1 o'clock to try to conclude. I'm concluding tomorrow the top 50 underrated classic albums at 1 o'clock. Still gonna be in the top 10, and try to get to that #1 spot. Who's had the #1 underrated classic album in hip hop history? Until then, talk to you at 1 o'clock.